All right, we're gonna go through the mix file, Casanova, well, the production file, show you how I made the beat and how I wrote the song. First off, I'm gonna say, if you write a shitty song, it's gonna sound shitty. There's nothing that my advice can do to help you here with that. I recorded this with the AKG C414, running through an Apollo Twin, and I did the backup vocals on the Sennheiser E835. This is like $40 or something. I don't remember. So as we break this down, I'm going to remind you that for songs like this, the simpler, the better, right? This song only has 5 main elements. I started writing the song with only the drum loop, which is this. All I came up with was the main melody. You got the blue hair, she's a stone. And then I set this off to my buddy Harry, who then came up with a bunch of backups for it. Got the blue hair, she's a stoner, she's getting with a player. Sounds so good. So he sent me that with a bunch of boos that you can hear in the song. And then he came up with the main verse melody. So he actually has a co-writing credit on this song. Yeah. Well, that is what you hear right over here. She ain't okay. Ooh, ooh. But we're not going to go into the vocal mix today because then I'll eventually run out of content and videos to make. And I hate that. Let's start off with the drums. Obviously, like I said, we have this loop right here. Then I added a kick. Snare. See how shit that sounds? But put it together. Obviously, there's some extra bells and whistles like these crashes, and I manually made these fills. That's what we're working with here, folks. It's honestly that the drum sounds took me so long to find. Kind of ridiculous how many iterations of this song. 9 different final mixes of this song, starting from January 8th, 2022. It's been long time coming, and it's all because of the drum samples. I could not find the right drums for this, and it took a while. The way I kind of glue the drums together once they're all layered is with this knock plugin. Honestly, it's by Decap. It is god tier. It is worth the money. Cosine, cosine, cosine. Without it, it sounds like fucking garbaggio. This is the shaker in the hook. These $10 skull shakers from Guitar Center. It's a great investment, guys. Great investment. Helped me out on my taxes this year. Huge return. Okay, let's get into the guitar. The guitars are really, it's simple. There's this, the guitars you hear at the beginning. And it's really just 2 chords, except for the hook. The chord progression of the hook changes, but the entire song really is based off 2 chords. It's gonna be this B right here. And E. The verse, we have the muted version of that. Hot, right? And then in the chorus, obviously, we have the other chords over here doing this. The mistake that a lot of people make when they're putting guitar in their songs is that they try to make the guitar the king of the song. Unless you are someone that is making that type of music or trying to put the guitar at the forefront, you kind of want the song to be the king of the song. All guitars, I do this harsh cutoff right here. Guitars are some of the muddiest, most disgusting fucking sounding instruments when you directly record them, which is how most people do it. They plug it straight into their interface, and you're going to get a lot of this low end at the bottom over here that's going to make it sound disgusting. If I turn off all the EQs, you'll hear how muddy this is. And that's going to clash with the bass, it's going to clash with the keys, going to clash with the vocals. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. That's pretty much the only guitar. Oh, and there's some guitar that rings out in the hook right here. Left and right. Keep it simple. The iconic synth, okay? If you want to call it that. This is a fucking stock plugin. Get over yourself. It's called Alchemy. It's on Logic. And it's called the Analog Stack Synth. And I kind of fucked around with it a little bit and, to make it sound not like a stock plugin. You can do that as well. It doesn't take that many steps. Then I threw the RC 2020 on it to give it, a little bit of a retro feel. This wobble here is really nice. Without it, it sounds kind of plain. And then the other synth that we have is this organ, this fake stock organ, okay? It's a vintage B3, as you can see here. And it's just playing, it's doing one thing. It's playing one chord, and it's doing like a sort of thing. Wow. I did a pretty good impression of that organ. So that organ is pretty key to creating that tension right there in the hook. You don't notice it and you can't hear it, but it's there. It's doing its job, you know? All right, let's move on to the bass, dude. As you can see, I recorded this bass with basically no input signal. Just judging from the wave file, it's so quiet. See how manually chopped and fucked with this is? These are the depths you have to go to if you're using a very not good bass. Or if you don't have money for like an amazing bass. You don't need like the best shit in the world. You just gotta, it might take a few extra steps, but you know, it is what it is. This bass line really is a realistic sounding bass line because I recorded the real bass, but I took out most of the bass. Why would I do that? Because I'm going to come back in and layer it with a sub synth bass to give it really that like feel like you're listening to the heaviest bass ever without having to deal with the muddiness of a real live bass, because real live basses are a pain in the ass to mix, especially the low end. And yeah, man, that's that's pretty much it. You know, we didn't do anything too complicated here. There's vocals and stuff. It's got to be about it. The most important thing in mixing a beat or a song, or like the final production of a song, really is volume levels and how to find space within your mix for the different instrument. You know, cutting out the real bass and putting in a sub bass so that it's not muddy. Cutting out most of the low end of the guitar so that it doesn't clash with the bass. You know, cutting out the low end of the sample and then replacing it with a fake kick so that it doesn't muddy up and clash with the bass or clash with the guitar, and then leaving enough space for the vocals. A lot of that can be achieved through just volume levels and EQ. You know, one thing I'd like to say before I sign off is if it don't bang in mono, it can't hang in stereo. I made that. I came up with that. All right, now fuck off.